Hey everybody, Anish here, career coach to the fiercely ambitious. So happy that you are here, really excited to jump into this video and talk a little bit about this insane GameStop hedge fund situation that we've been all kind of been transfixed by. I know I've been obsessed by it. My wife knew that it was getting out of hand when it was like over the weekend, and I had like simultaneously our newspaper. Yes, we still get the newspaper, my phone, and all of this all tuned to the same channel, right? What is the latest development here? What's happening in terms of one side versus the other? What's the spin going on here? And just really transfixed. I've never seen anything like that occur in the financial markets ever, not even remotely. And it's amazing to watch. But here's the thing. I'm a career coach, right? If you follow me, and by the way, if you're coming across me for the first time, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on YouTube, take a second, hit that subscribe button or hit that like button. That'll really, really help us as well. Take an action. HelloAnish.com is also our website. That's where we will also post more information. Take a step, okay? That would really, really help us out. But back to the topic at hand. I'm a career coach, right? And looking at this, I can't help but filter it and the situation entire through the lens of, is there a lesson here that pertains to that? Is there a lesson that pertains to your professional life and a larger shift that is going on that also applies to you there? Okay, so let me tell you this right now. Absolute newbie. When it comes to the financial world, there are many better people than me who can describe the situation in detail, okay? But basically, and apologies in advance for oversimplifying things, but there has been a stark line in the sand between institutional people, okay? People who run these hedge funds, people who invest in these stocks, etc., the professionals, right? The elite class, and everybody else. Me and you, if we say, hey, I got a hot stock tip, I want to invest in it, we're called a retail investor, basically, right? And there's always been a sense that we're the hoi polloi, and if we get lucky, that's great. But if we want to make serious money, you got to be a part of that. But here's the problem with that, okay? If you didn't have enough money, you were locked out of that club. And if you were locked out of that club, you couldn't do things like after hours trade, for example, which is them continuing to be able to trade while we were locked out. There's a ton of these things, right? So there was an ivory tower, and ever so much, there was an increasing amount of pressure over the years to cast out anyone who was looking at it from the outside. Okay, fine. So these guys on Reddit, on a community called Wall Street Bets, some unbelievably gifted people on there doing amazing amounts of research, they figure out, hey, guess what? Some of these companies, okay, some of these hedge funds, they're so overinvested in companies that they are betting on to fail, shorting them, that they've actually overdone it. Like some of these, like GameStop, had, I believe, 30 to 40% more short interest than there were even shares in the company. It was insane. Right? It was absolutely insane. So they saw an opportunity and they said, hey, what if we all kind of went in here, and for a bunch of different reasons, not just the fact that they saw an opportunity, but this was like a real confluence of a bunch of different events because GameStop, you got to think for the demographic of the people who are on this community, they grew up with that company. You know, they traded in the games, they bought the games, they know that store, you know, and they also had a belief that, hey, you know what, this is overdoing it, okay? $2 a share, $3 a share is also not appropriate for this. And it's fundamentally abhorrent to just think about all these freaking vultures waiting around with eagerness, you know, with their knives out, right? So they said, hey, let's go in and let's see if we can make an impact. And an impact they did, right? And so this company goes right up here. And as this starts happening, right, all these ordinary retail people like you and me start making some real money, right? It's like, it's going up and up and up and up. And all of a sudden, the other side starts getting really upset about it, right? They start getting, applying pressure. There was literally an article in the Wall Street Journal that called them the barbarians at the gate. Can you imagine this? Like there's this huge pushback, and it's understandable, okay? Because why? Think about it this way. All of those people in those companies, right? Why do they make the big bucks? It's because they've convinced the people who go in that, hey, look, we have the intelligence, we have the expertise, we have the time to make these decisions on your behalf. And so we deserve this. So when a bunch of people on a group can collectively come together in that way and influence that level of change, it makes them look absolutely ridiculous. A, why didn't you spot this, right? And B, if they can make a move, what the hell am I paying you for, right? It's a real slap in the face on a bunch of different levels to those people who, let's face it, for all of their money and power, are glorified gatekeepers. Fine. Now, how does that situation, wherever that goes, apply to your career? The gatekeepers are the ones that are under assault in multiple fronts right now. Not just as we're seeing so blatantly in finance, but in many, many walks of life. And the gatekeepers in hiring would have you believe something similar. You are a retail employee. You are someone who is on the outs. You don't have the expertise to know how to generate your own opportunities. You don't have the ability to dialogue with people who are at the high level. You don't have the ability to solve pain. Allow me. And when you send a resume, whether you know it or not, that is exactly what you are doing, because you are just sending a piece of paper and getting vetted on and decided on, and your fate literally gets decided on by someone who doesn't know you, doesn't care to. All right? You're just outsourcing arguably the most important thing in your life that when it comes to improving the standard of your life, right? Your ability to generate income, your ability to move forward, have an impact, feel fulfillment. How is that not your responsibility? And why is there such a narrative to say, send better resumes, send more resumes, work with more recruiters, find the magic recruiter, who's not going to treat you as a number, right? There's this narrative that's been going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And if you ask a lot of these people, hey, what is this hidden job market that I keep talking about? Oh, don't worry about that. That's not for you. That doesn't apply in your industry. Hey, do you think, I've been undervalued for 5 years. Do you think there's an opportunity to scale up now finally? Well, I wouldn't get your hopes up. You know what I mean? In the industry, it's kind of hard. Let's just play it how it is. All these third-party people have been passing judgment and limiting where you can go your whole life professionally. Now, what if you asked yourself a similar thing? What if you said, hey, what if I started taking responsibility for this? What if I said this was my freaking career and I have the ability to build a relationship with whoever I want, whenever I want, and I have the ability to be a better steward of my future and my family's future than anybody else? What if you did that? What if you removed the idea that salvation would ever come from some random hiring manager or recruiter or HR person or anyone? What if you said it would never come from them? Never. What if the only way that you could get what you were going to get is by taking this kind of radical ownership? What would you do? How boldly would you act? How passionately would you own the high ground? And I don't just mean skill sets. I mean, how does that skill set apply to impact that affects the business? And can you talk in that way? Can you brand yourself in that way? Can you take a risk and move forward in that way and own it? Can you negotiate a deal in that way, even though it's the first time? Even though, like many of us, and I did this, the first job I ever negotiated, opportunities I negotiated back in my days as an author, a journalist, negotiating these contracts. I have no idea what I'm doing. I would literally sometimes be on Googling up the most basic concepts, but I was willing and I was taking ownership, right? One day, somebody else would be involved to help. Today, it's me. And I will not squander this opportunity, this door, just because it's unfamiliar to me, right? So that's my invitation to each and every one of you. The time of the gatekeepers is at an end. You can either be a part of that and say, maybe I'll get my shakes before the whole house comes crumbling down, or you can be a part of something else. And when it comes to your career, screw the gatekeepers. They're not here to help you. They're here to help their corporate paymasters. If that's not you, you will never be a part of that club. That's that old George Carlin line, right? It's a big club and you ain't in it. Create your own club and move forward that way. All right, guys? Have an amazing day. Keep hustling. Keep that fire going. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Talk soon.